Lorenzo, I want to talk to you about something that I have been doing for the last 3 weeks now for my own website. And it's really kind of really give me insights and almost like I've exercised muscles that I didn't have previously, which I really am enjoying. And what I'm doing is on my website, one of the things I always do is whenever I work with a client, I'm always trying to identify the tip of the spear. And for me, the entire funnel is not equally important. I don't have the attention or the energy to go through the entire funnel all the time. So I just identify the tip of the spear, as you and I have talked about. For us, the tip of the spear for us is the product page. And I want to just be clear over here. When we say, and I think this is something I've been thinking about, a lot of listeners might be watching this and have seen our videos and might say, well, you guys are talking a lot about product pages, but I'm driving all of my paid traffic to a landing page. And then from that landing page, they then go to the product page and then they check out. So our definition of a product page is where the heavy lifting of the sale is happening. So if people are coming to a landing page and that landing page is doing 90% of the selling, and people are literally going to the product page just to click on add to cart or maybe to select subscribe versus non-subscribe, then your product page is behaving more transactionally, and to us, that landing page then is playing the role of the product page. So just keep that in mind. For us, it's really about where the heavy lifting of the sale is taking place. Now, my business, I don't have a product page. So, but again, I have certain pages that do heavy lifting of the communicating of our philosophy. So the two pages that I are important for me, I have session recordings set for them. And I'm using Hotjar, so it records anyone who comes to the page, it records their user experience, how they're scrolling, where they're clicking, their rage clicks, all of that stuff. And you get one level of data abstraction when you go to analytics, but the picture you see when you manually go through every single recording every single day, and I spend like 30 minutes every day going through these recordings first thing in the morning.
Nice.
And just it's almost like standing behind the shoulder of a shopper. I actually am noticing mistakes in our logic. Even I'm like, oh, wait a minute, this content doesn't flow properly. So not only am I observing what they're doing, but I'm actually having a chance to read the copy again from the perspective of from their perspective. It gives me a ton of insights. I also notice things where they are struggling. I notice their rage clicks. I notice everything, right? And so my point here is that a lot of times business owners will install a tool like Lucky Orange or Hotjar, and then this seems like a magical idea, and then they'll do it for 2 or 3 days, and then they'll say, "Okay, I'm done," and they'll unsubscribe, or maybe they'll keep the tool available in case they want to use it. My recommendation is to do what I'm trying to do, which is every day, every morning, I spend 30 minutes going through those recordings. I don't go through every single recording. I kind of have a sense as to what recordings to look at, but just the discipline of patiently sitting and watching. And a lot of these recording tools have now these shortcuts where it skips over inactivity. So you're not sitting and just seeing someone not do anything, right? You're just looking at the active motion. It can give you, in a very compressed way, a really nuanced picture of what is happening. So my view has now changed. I thank Lorenzo for this whole research based thinking. But my view is now that if you have a best selling product page that is doing, driving, let's say, 40% of your sales, you need to spend time looking at how people are behaving on that page. And I think it gives you lots of insights. Lorenzo, do you?
I don't have a lot of stuff to say, honestly. Like, you made the pitch for me.
Yeah. No.
No, honestly, like I'm obviously like a huge fan of it. One thing that I've done in the past is like mixing session recordings with heat maps. And sometimes you would see, let's say, I'll give you an example of something interesting I discovered. I would see a lot of like clicks around and movements around image gallery, right? Oh, a lot of people are interested in image gallery. That makes sense. And then I would look at session recordings, and yeah, it was true that they were clicking on those image gallery, but because they couldn't understand anything about the product, so they kept on like going through the image gallery looking for something specific about the product.
Yeah.
And obviously, without the session recording, I wouldn't have known that. And I would just like, oh, people care about so much about the product images. We need to make them more apparent, or more. We need to add more images to the product page. Blah blah blah. No, that showed that people don't freaking understand what's inside the product.
Yeah, no, I agree. So again, the lesson here is none of you who is watching this video is new to session recordings. The thing that we are trying to emphasize here is the discipline of allocating time every day, or I would say every day. You don't have to allocate 2 hours. I would say even 20 minutes if that's too much. Start off, it's like working out. Start off with 10 minutes. Just build the muscle memory of actually doing this behavior. And again, I want to emphasize, not every part of your website is equally important. So don't focus on, when I go to my session recordings, I'm only looking at those 2 pages because those are my most important points of entry. They are also my pages that do the most heavy lifting of selling people on my point of view. If people are rejecting my point of view, then everything else that I'm doing is meaningless. So I need to focus on that. If my goal was to look at recordings for every page on my website, I would have quit this project on day 2 because it's just too overwhelming. It takes 10 hours a day. So discipline of doing things, setting a measurable goal. Lorenzo, you were going to say something?
Even with one video a day, like literally like 2 minutes video, you know more about your customer just with one video than the day before.
No, I agree. And the key then, of course, is to, if it's one video, it's fine, but make sure it's every day, so you can actually notice patterns. And you'll notice that the more you look at it, the more you are actually picking up on patterns that you wouldn't have picked up on by looking at just one or two videos. So the idea of like doing it regularly makes a big difference. We hope you like this episode. Give us your thoughts. Tell us if you disagree with us, and if you found a better tool than Hotjar or Lucky Orange. We will see you again soon. Take care.